Donald Trump's administration is now in a perpetual state of cover-ups, whether it is his tanking approval rating, his deteriorating health, or the Jeffrey Epstein scandal. They are trying to cover up, and that is exactly what we just saw when a post was deleted related to the disaster press conference that Donald Trump gave today, in which he did everything he possibly could to pretend that he was a big, strong, tough guy, but it just didn't work. We're going to get into it all and why that post was deleted. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video. And if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button, because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we get into that post and why it was deleted, I want to start with what Donald Trump's press conference was really about, apparently attacking J.B. Pritzker, who immediately responded. And I want to check it out from the Gov.
I know how Donald Trump thinks because I've been governor during both of his terms. He has surrounded himself with groveling yes men who are too weak to restrain his most violent and unhinged impulses, or who share those impulses. As a governor who cares about the well-being of my people, I can't live in a fantasy land where I pretend Trump is not tearing this country apart for personal greed and power. I have to deal in facts, and here they are. Crime is down in Chicago. Murders are down by almost 50% in the last 4 years. Shootings are down 57%. Robberies down 34%. Burglaries down 21%. Motor vehicle thefts down 26%. One violent crime is too many, and we have more work to do. But we have made important progress on safety that Trump is now jeopardizing. Just during the last week, I've been in neighborhoods across Chicago, from Bronzeville to South Shore to Chatham to Little Village. The president's absurd characterizations do not match what is happening on the ground here. He has no idea what he's talking about. There is no emergency that warrants deployment of troops.
Everything that Donald Trump is doing right now is theater. He is putting on an act. These are all stunts. Sending in the National Guard, even if you want to say it's helped with a crime problem that Donald Trump is fear-mongering about, it is not a long-term solution unless you want a police state that Donald Trump and Palantir put together to surveil everything that you say. And if you speak any ill about Donald Trump, best believe some masked thugs are going to be busting down your door. So if you don't want to live in the 1984 reality that conservatives are always saying Democrats want, but are now themselves actually carrying out, then no, we should want long-term, real structural changes to a system that creates mass incarceration, that creates homelessness, because that is what is happening right now. Does Donald Trump care about it? Absolutely not, which is why we need more of Trump getting called out by Pritzker, as we saw right here before we get into that post.
On television and beg me to call and ask him for troops. I find this extraordinarily strange, as Chicago does not want troops on our streets. I also have experience asking the president for assistance, just to have the rug pulled out from underneath me when execution meets reality. I refuse to play a reality game show with Donald Trump again. What I want are the federal dollars that have been promised to Illinois and Chicago for violence prevention programs that have proven to work. That is money that Illinois taxpayers send to the federal government, and it's an insult to any and every citizen to suggest that any governor should have to beg the president of any political party for resources owed their people. I'd like to ask a question of my own, and it's one the press should be asking as well. When did we become a country where it's...
Donald Trump will try everything possible to look tough. Donald Trump will go to any end that he needs to pretend that he is the big, strong guy. But that is just not the case. And that is what we have to realize, and that is what we have to point out. I think it is so necessary right now that Democrats worried about the crime narrative catching up to them is going to be something that their constituents are asking about. Need to prepare an answer in which they make it very clear that they are actually focused on solving problems and point out the ways that they have. Crime is down in blue cities, in New York, in Chicago, in Baltimore. Lean on that. Talk about it. Don't let Donald Trump define the narrative with his lies when we have the truth on our side. All Donald Trump is thinking about is big stunts, which is why this post had to be deleted about the biggest stunt of them all, his press conference today. Pentagon deletes post after accidentally revealing Trump's big mystery announcement. Donald Trump teased a major announcement on Tuesday afternoon, but the Pentagon accidentally spoiled the surprise by posting the news ahead of them, then quickly deleted it. Dave Brown, deputy managing editor for Politico, noted that Trump lost both the element of surprise and the impact of his Oval Office announcement slated for Tuesday afternoon. Instead, the story broke early when the Defense Department's website inadvertently published a link to the upcoming live stream with the caption, "U.S. Space Command HQ announced." The reference was later removed. Trump was expected to, and obviously did, announce the relocation of the U.S. Space Command headquarters from Colorado Springs to Huntsville, Alabama, a decision likely to hit the Colorado Springs economy hard. The area, a longtime conservative stronghold, is already home to the U.S. Air Force Academy, as well as organizations such as Focus on the Family and the James Dobson Family Institute. A decade ago, the city ranked as the fourth most conservative in the country. CPR News reported, though recent trends suggest change. So first, let us point out that this is a purely political decision being made by Donald Trump to take thousands of jobs away from Colorado and move them to Alabama. Secondly, let's point out the obvious what happened here. The post was deleted because Donald Trump wanted as much attention as possible on a press conference in which he had all of his goons stand behind him, go up to the mic and say, "Oh, Mr. President, you're such a wonderful leader, Mr. President. You're such a fantastic guy, Mr. President. Oh, we love you so much, and you're the best. You're in the best health of your life. You look so good, and you're not covered in sludge and makeup all over your hands. No, you look fantastic. Look how healthy you are." That is what he wanted. He wanted the most attention on that spectacle as possible. Again, this is political theater with a bunch of actors who don't know their lines. They cannot make the spectacle that they want, clearly, because Pete Hegseth, I guess, is leaking once again. This time it's Donald Trump's announcements. But he just wants to pretend that he's tough, and he's not. That's why he attacked Pritzker right here.
I didn't say when we're going in. When you lose, look, I have an obligation. This isn't a political thing. I have an obligation. When we lose, when 20 people are killed over the last 2.5 weeks, and 75 are shot with bullets. So let me tell you a little story about a place called D.C., District of Columbia, right here where we are. It's now a safe zone. We have no crime. It's in such great shape. You can go and actually walk with your children, your wife, your husband. You can walk.
One part of this communicates strength. Donald Trump is just forcing his will upon a city that doesn't need the action that he's taking. And again, I hope Democrats will point that out, that Donald Trump is not after long-term solutions. You do not need to qualify everything you say. You don't need to, but maybe you don't need to do that. Just make it clear that Trump doesn't care. He never has, and he never will. Donald Trump is after a spectacle, and this press conference didn't help that. And neither will the press conference coming tomorrow about Jeffrey Epstein, which Donald Trump is not looking forward to.
Donald Trump has tried many ways to tamp down this Epstein debacle, a scandal that haunts him, that has taken traction on the right. He has pleaded with people to let it go. He's called it boring. We have reporting that he and aides have pressured MAGA voices, basically cajoling or threatening them to say, please let this one go. Some podcasters all but admitted that. And then, of course, they fired the lead prosecutor over the case. They gave Maxwell a better prison to be in and conducted a very unusual interview. All of that, of course, designed to quiet things. So here we are on Labor Day, going into the return from summer, a time where the Trump allies said this will be done by then. And that's not working. Congress is coming back this week. Key members, including Congressman Ro Khanna, a Democrat, are trying to elevate the issue, but also do something that they say the Trump DOJ has failed to do, which is listen to the Epstein survivors.
What will be explosive is the September 3rd press conference that both of us are having with 10 Epstein victims, many who have never spoken out before. They're going to be on the steps of the Capitol. They will be telling their story, and they will be saying clearly to the American public that they want the release of the Epstein files for full closure on this matter.
I was Khanna speaking Sunday he has a Republican who's along for this effort, and they will basically try to platform what you heard there, a presentation by the survivors about Epstein's abuse. Whether it goes directly at the Trump DOJ's treatment, we don't know, but some of these survivors have already, through lawyers and spokespeople, said that they are very concerned about the leniency for Maxwell and how the whole administration's been approaching it just recently. If you go back far enough, you heard the congressman say many of them have never spoken, and they haven't spoken all together in this format, but some, of course, have spoken out. Dateline interviewed many Epstein accusers in 2019.
What did it mean to stand up in court, to meet each other, to hear other stories?
It was such a powerful moment to stand in court, knowing how we all had this common experience. And we didn't know each other, but we did.
Do you feel let down by the justice system? I don't know if you girls feel the same, but I feel let down.
They failed us before. Don't fail us again.
Exactly.
That's all we're asking. Take us serious.
I think that there should be still some accountability for a lot of the people that were enabling Epstein.
You don't have to take my voice and believe everything I say, but follow the facts. Look at the flight logs.
There are logs, there is evidence, and then there's the material that the Trump DOJ has not released. Then there's the fact that they've been helping Epstein's only convicted co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell, and surfacing or providing what is not considered credible testimony, someone who's convicted, and just appealing their conviction, which means they continue to have to maintain that they're innocent in some way. A lot of questions about why the Trump DOJ is helping Maxwell.
This needs to be covered all the time and always, and I promise you, we will be covering it tomorrow. We will actually be doing an interview with Congressman Ro Khanna, who has organized, along with Republican Congressman Thomas Massie, this press conference, because we will be bringing nonstop attention to the Jeffrey Epstein scandal. Because now is the time. Donald Trump sent Congress home early. He's going to try to distract. He's going to try to shift focus. He doesn't want us talking about this, but this is a winning issue. Make it clear that Donald Trump shutting down the investigation into Epstein not only tried to get him off the hook, but the rest of those rich criminals that surrounded Epstein that were a part of his crimes. Donald Trump will always, always bail out the rich, the wealthy, the well-off, and the well-connected. That is a message that needs no buts, no ums, no connections. You don't need to read the stage directions. You can just speak like an honest person about the disgusting cover-up that happened. We're going to continue to do so on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around at the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.